People of diverse cultures using the power of their faith to ground their lives and spur them on to amazing heights. Welcome as we appreciate one of life's great portraits. For Dr. Sat Bhattacharya, the dream began in his small lab with 3 high school interns in 2000. The humble seeds sprouted roots and grew into the Harlem Children's Society, a progressive program bringing science to the inner city. New York's Sat Bhattacharya, or as the kids say, the legend of Dr. Sat. Tonight on Portraits.
Well, I'm Dr. Sat Bhattacharya from Sloan Kettering Cancer Center and Harlem Children's Society. My dad is a medical doctor too, and he was a medical doctor in the Indian Army. So that's why we moved from place to place every few years. And my mother is a musician, but Indian classical music. My full name is Satyajit, my full first name. And here, because it's a tongue twister, people usually cannot say Satyajit, so it is short to Sat. But Satya means truth, and winner, Jeet means winner. So essentially my name means winner of truth. It's a very hard proposition to keep, but we all try. And then my last name is Bhattacharya. Bhatta means great, and Acharya means teacher. I mean, originally that's what it's meant to be.
Like all great teachers, Dr. Sat found the walls of his lab too restrictive for his tutorial ambitions, so he loaded up his lab and moved to Harlem, New York.
It is based on the economic background of the people. If people are poor, then it becomes quite a bit difficult to do anything in life. And complex on that are the race issue and the class issue. So if people are poor and then they're African American or Hispanic or people who are compromised in various other situations, like the new immigrants, for example, life is much difficult. Hello, Rishesh. How's it going? Shaveen.
Hey, Dr. Zara.
How's it going?
My name is Shaveen Green, and I recently started working for Harlem Children's Society this past summer. I myself was a student in the program when it first began. I was a student with the class of 2002. Back then, there were only 3 students, myself and 2 others, and Dr. Zat, the founder and CEO, he was our mentor, and we all interned in his lab. Now the program has expanded so much, we have, almost 300 students, so, he can't mentor 300 students, so we have mentors all over the city. I've been following up with the students who will be attending the Sigma Psi conference this Friday, so when you get a chance, I'd like to go over some things with you.
Good, thanks,
okay?
thanks. And Rishesh?
Yeah, I'm working on the Sigma Psi poster for this year. I used to work in a restaurant, and I met Dr. Sat there. And then he said, he gave me his business card, and then I told him I'm good at computers and I really want to help do some social service, because when I was back in Nepal, I used to do a lot of social service. So yeah, basically we met in a restaurant and we had the same common goal.
4 groups actually, 5. So each group for the conference we have like staff in charge.
Okay.
So there are 2 people in charge, and then there's student leaders. There are 2 student leaders, and then each of the rooms. So there are 2 people, staff, and then two of the students in each rooms.
The mission of the organization absolutely fits what I believe in as a human being, and that is to spread education to people who cannot otherwise get the opportunity, to make that happen for them and establish relationships that will be ongoing for them forever.
Yeah, something
like this?
Yeah, and then what it means as well. How many
The percentages.
The percentages and stuff. Yeah.
I attended a high school in Harlem, New York, which is one of the most under-resourced communities in the New York City area. And so Dr. Zat, in alliance with the organization's mission, came to my high school and interviewed students who fit the criteria, students who had potential and were doing well in school but didn't necessarily have at their hand the materials and resources needed to kind of explore their full capacities. And so he came to my school, which was in Harlem, and interviewed myself and other students, and then he chose to have me in his lab.
Now, because these students come from such compromised backgrounds and many of the families never have had a university education, they do not know who to approach to. Many of us who have been in privileged situations, our parents or brothers or sisters can pick up the phone and call someone else, like, I have a brother or sister or a son or a daughter, please help them. But these people who have not had that opportunity don't know who to call. So that's where we step in. We make the phone calls. If the student has the drive and has worked hard and we see that fire in that student, we then pair the student with their interest.
The Harlem Children's Society functions smoothly on its own, allowing the good doctor to check in on the after-school program he started back at Sloan Kettering.
I see your work is just beginning.
Session starts during the summer when it is full swing. So I usually interview the students during the springtime, and I notify the science teachers and principals to pre-select some of the best students that they have, but they all have to be below U.S. poverty guidelines in the U.S. And then from there, I select anywhere from 2 to 4 to 5 to 6 students, 10 students. And then this summer, all the students are paired up with individual mentors. All the mentors are seasoned researchers in top institutions like Sloan Kettering, NYU, Columbia. We have sent students to NASA Space Center in Florida, in Wisconsin. Hey everyone, how's it going? Even though they come from extremely compromised backgrounds, be it financially or be it family-wise, many of them come from single parent homes. Many of them come from right on the streets. We have had a few students who have been homeless, and in few instances these students have gone on to go to Ivy League schools with full scholarships. So things change, and I've seen that change happen.
They were all applying. Well, not me, but they're all applying.
See, Harvard, all the major Ivy League schools are offering complete scholarship. That doesn't mean that you have an entry to the door, but if you have studied hard, you have reasonable good SATs, you will get in.
So I think what it's trying to do, and it will do, is change the way we look at science. There are all those research that's done that show that if you speak to elementary school students about a doctor, they'll draw a picture of a white man in a robe, in a lab coat. And we're trying to change that to say, in addition to that image, you can also have the image of a young black woman in a lab coat, or a young Hispanic male in a lab coat, or a young Indian female in a lab coat. So what ACS is doing is trying to change the world or the outlook of what science is, or what's represented by science.
You have to do good because you will be our ambassadors. You're ambassadors from your own family, but then you will be ambassadors of Harlem Children's Society and every one of us who work for you, your teachers, your principals, and everyone. We sort of impress upon them that when the time comes, first they have to look after themselves with a good education and with all that they can give for themselves, which is not selfish, but it is it strengthens them. So when a person is stronger, then they can help and strengthen other people in their own community and outside their own community. We will help you. and then you'll help us. When you become rich and famous, we want your money. But more than that, we want all of you to do well in life. That's the most important thing. So first you have to look after yourself, and then you have to look after people, in your family and other people, and people who don't look like you, who are from a different cultural background. They come back and want to help us. In fact, we have one of our students, one of my own students, the second year since I started the program, and she has joined us as a staff intern, and she'll be with us for the next year and a half, 2 years, before she goes back to school, medical school. That's what she intends to do.
You know, he lives and breathes Harlem Children's Society in a sense. You know, he's always concerned with what's going on in the organization, how the students are doing. Even while I was in college, there would be times when, things weren't going so well, and I wouldn't want to contact him because I couldn't contact him and say, "Hey, Dr. Zai, I'm getting all A's." But he would still seek me out, and he would call me and check up on me, see how I was doing. He's definitely a person you can go to talk about pretty much anything. I've known him in the capacity of a mentor, a friend, and now, a co-worker.
Okay, so we are going to learn about pipetting today. You did a lot of pipetting today, right?
We did.
So
The reward for dedicated study is what all these aspiring scientists long for. Fun time with the Beakers. Each student is paired with a mentor, and the games begin.
the initial end, they are sort of more apprehensive taking students, but then they realize from other mentors that it's worthwhile. It's worthwhile taking up a student and polishing them up and making the best out of it. You can take the best and the brightest and make them even better, but it would be a wonderful thing where you see the drive, you see this fire, of course, and the student has to work hard, and then take them and that student and create a jewel out of it, a finished cut jewel. So that is more of a rewarding, and how it translates into changing the own immediate environment. When the students go on to get a good education, obviously their incomes improve, their family situations so it has social and economic implications.
It was an internship that my school introduced to me. My guidance counselor told me that this would be a really good thing for me. I was very excited to learn about it, and I was very happy when I found out that I was accepted into it.
Have you heard of centrifugation? So you do centrifugation and you spin the molecules, and the molecules align themselves in this tube depending on the molecular weight. So some of the molecules will go down at the bottom of the tube, and some of the molecules will remain on top. So can you tell me which of the molecules might go down? The heavier molecules.
I could tell that they're very ambitious, and they're trying to work to the best of their ability to pursue their dreams and careers and to help other people in the future.
When we use biohazard material, we dispose it properly. So you close it.
I found out that one day one of my classmates was telling me about this program. So I went to my guidance counselor and I asked them about this program. So she gave me all the details and told me everything. So when I came here on the orientation day, it was kind of like the best day. That's how I kind of like know about the program more and more. It wasn't about when I found out from the school. It's better when I found out when I came here.
So these are different kinds of cancer cells. So it's supplied by oxygen and carbon dioxide, so that the cells require oxygen and carbon dioxide, right? And then after they are grown, they are frozen in these liquid nitrogen cases here. So those cells that you saw that are frozen here. Now this is very cold. Don't try this. So this is minus 180 degrees Celsius.
Celsius.
Right?
I would say that Dr. Sai's a really helpful person that wants to do good in life. That's why he has all of us here. Maybe we're not fortunate enough to do these kind of stuff, but he's actually trying to help us to get a good education for this.
I would say that it's a good opportunity because I've never been in a program like this where I actually have hands-on research. So when I went back to school, I was able to tell my science teachers that, you know, I found DNA and all those type of things, and they were amazed because none of my classmates have ever done anything like this. So it was a good head start for me, so I already know what I'm getting myself into. So it kind of made me want to change what I want to be in the future because I know now what I'm getting into.
We had a student who joined with us, who was with us for 4 years, and when she joined, we put her, she was in a homeless shelter, and then we put the student in a nutrition background, and then eventually the student expressed an interest that she's good in engineering, so we sent her in a space-related program in NASA, Florida, and now she is in one of the top Ivy League schools with full scholarship. So, and there are many examples like that where we have shown that if there is a will and drive, that has to come from the student, and they are willing to work hard, we can walk that additional mile and make the things happen to them.
Valuable technical abilities as well as social skills are developed as the students lean on one another for camaraderie and encouragement.
At the end of the program, we ask the students to write about their experiences, and most of the times the experience is about culture, not only science and science education, but what has really touched them as human beings, what has touched them to make them communicate to other people. So that's what makes them a better person. The street fair, for example, I remember 2 years ago, we have various competitions and we have judges. And one of the judges in the street fair is Algerian, one of my close friends, and it was during Ramadan. And you know, of course, he fasts during Ramadan, and you know, he didn't eat all day, and he has to, you know, he has to judge, and then he has to break his fast at a particular time. And then we usually hold our street fair next to a church. It's United Methodist Church in Harlem. So he said, "Sat, where can I pray? I have to break my fast. First I have to pray and then break my fast." So go inside the church. And so it's a wonderful harmony where religions can even unite. Doesn't matter, you know, where you come from. So I talked to the pastor. The pastor said, "Why not? Ask him, go any one of the rooms. He can use my room if he wants to, and pray and then break the fast."
A grueling day is left behind once Dr. Sat returns to the friendly confines of home and the endeavor that illustrates his mission for the Harlem Children's Society.
I think it tells stories. A photograph, just like writing, tells stories. A photograph is not just a unidimensional one-piece object, but one can write whole pieces. It's a thing that shares cultural values, or if it's a natural system, it just creates a certain harmony between different societies and different meanings, whatever the context is. Sometimes it has been just flowers or leaves or orchids, or sometimes it has been people. People usually try not to disturb them in a way, but see it from and observe them, so that they're not still photographs, but in a cultural perspective. Just basically, I use photography to tell a story. Even though it is a still, it is a moving story, and that's the impression that, at least that's how I understand, is a still photograph is a living and thriving, and actually it's very similar to photography, but usually words are static images on paper, but yet convey certain meaning. But how the words are placed on paper also means a lot to me as well. So it's not just I place the words at random, and how it sounds and conveys a meaning, and how situations touch me in a way or how I want to convey are important to me. Black, because I have a future and work hard at it. Black, because I am a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, because I am a Hindu too. Black, because I am pink, I'm purple, I'm blue, and white too. Black, because I am of all colors, class, and creed, and near I live in any insisted embrace, because I am that all-encompassing shunya, because I am that path that keeps every step alive. Black, because I have my dreams, dreams for myself, dreams for my brothers and sisters, dreams not just for my own community, but beyond. We can still have our national boundaries, we can still maintain our identities, and that is very important to maintain our identities. We don't want to create a scenario where everyone looks alike and everyone behaves alike, otherwise it will be a boring place. We are on this planet because we are different people, and we have to understand how to appreciate the differences in a way that we can tolerate each other, and yet sort of carry those differences as if it is a proud it is our own pride. So being different and coming from different value systems is, I think, a total plus point, but yet we can understand one another so that we can create a harmonious world through education.
I think with Dr. Zat, it comes from the heart, and he truly believes that the purpose of souls is to assist each other, and to him soul has no color, it has no face, it's just, you know, an entity that just represents people of all races, all classes.
So you can freeze them for millions of years too, but you have to keep on supplying them with liquid nitrogen.
He is an inspiration and a role model, and it's just grateful to see that there's some people who's willing to go on the line to help people who don't have the opportunity to learn things as well as other people do. He's an inspiration to me, and that's like something I'd like to do when I get older, spread wisdom of what I know to others, and it's just a great thing he has going. He's helped a lot of people, and I thank him for that.
There'll be two separate layers. You see, it's not mixing. You see? So imagine that this is blood. You see there are two layers. It doesn't mix together.
He's a very great person because many people don't see things as he is seeing things, and many people don't look out for children as he has done for us, and he has given us a very good head start for the future in the medical field. And honestly, if it wasn't for Dr. Zat, I would have not gotten this opportunity.
Okay.
He helped me, like, give me a great opportunity to like work with doctors, and without him I couldn't like have the first hand step of becoming a doctor. He kind of encouraged me to become a doctor.
He's strict, but not up to the point where you don't want to do it. Like he behind his strictness is something about it that, like, he pushes you to do better because he knows you could do more. So he expects a lot from us, so we high expectations, but I think that's better for us. But I think he's a very kind man. He sees a lot for us. He has a good vision, put like that, for people that are not able to have this kind of situation.
No, not yet.
Okay, so maybe we'll take you there. or some of the other colleges. We were talking about taking kids to, expose them to other colleges around, close to New York State.
Right.
Yeah. I think the vision for, or our ultimate goal, is to have people see minority students or students who are underserved as viable candidates for research position in research labs and MDs and PhDs.
And I strongly believe that it is for the public good, it is for the overall tolerance and peace. Ultimately, if we are tolerant and towards one another and have the awareness, this world will be a peaceful place and there'll be less wars.
Yesterday there was the Harlem 3. Today the Harlem Children's Society reveals the mysteries of science to over 300 students across the country. A diverse audience introduced to a diverse field. Now that's good chemistry.